Okay, so it is my goal here to create a Joji style beat. This is my first time ever doing one of these videos, and I by no means am a professional producer, but kind of the crux of this video is to show improvement over time and to force myself to create and put it in front of people. So hopefully there is improvement over time, but in the meantime, hopefully you enjoy this video. And like I said, I'm by no means a professional producer, but that is the ultimate end goal. So I hope you enjoy some of my tactics and my strategies. I'm sure some of them are very wrong, but this may not sound anything like a Joji style beat. It's an AJ Sandlin style beat, so that's worth something, right? Okay, so I've never done this before, but I figured the best place to start would be where I usually start, so that's with the guitar. And there's no better way to find something to build a song around than by just experimenting. So gave myself 10 minutes and said, let's see what we can find. And I do want to apologize up front if the sound in any of these clips is kind of annoying, the little static buzz in the background. Like I said, I'm new to making these videos, so I now know that my iPhone records a pretty good sound, but my camera doesn't, so it's good to know. Okay, so I played around for a little bit, and I did stumble upon this guitar riff that I like. The chords are C, E minor, F. So to get that lo-fi sound right off the bat, the first thing I did to record this guitar is actually record it with my iPhone. This is something I do a lot, and I find it's an easier way to go ahead and get that lo-fi vibe, so let's do it. Okay, so here's what it sounds like in Ableton. Now to take the lo-fi vibes even a little bit further, one of the things I've been experimenting with a lot recently is actually taking the clip, pitching it down 12 half steps, starting to do a little bit of format shifting on it, and then right after that I will then actually resample it, in other words re-record that clip, run onto another track, and then pitch it back up 12 half steps and mess around with the format a little bit more. And I find that this gives a really neat lo-fi vibe to the sounds you're working with. So that's exactly what I've done here. Oh, and don't forget about some clever EQing, taking out some of the highs as well as some of the lows. Now it's time to spend some time doing what a lot of producers spend a lot of time doing, and that is flipping through sample libraries. So once again, as I've mentioned previously, we're looking for those lo-fi sounds. Now I have basically no technical background. I have very little theory that I actually know, and so my process involves just a lot of sheer experimentation, and it seems like I find a lot of the coolest stuff by accident, and so that's kind of what I'm trying to do here, just stumble across something, and it seems to most of the time work out. There we go, getting my head bobbing a little bit. You can tell I'm starting to feel it. Now one of the things I didn't like just having that guitar as our primary instrument, and so what I've actually went ahead and also done is find a little bit of a piano run. That's something that Joji does in a ton of his music, and so it wouldn't be a Joji remake if I didn't have the piano somewhere in the song. And so that's what I've done, and I think it really takes this up a level, to be honest. As I had pitched down, resampled, and then pitched back up with the guitar, I'm doing the exact same thing with the piano. Only what I've actually done is sampled it, or I pitched it up, and then resampled and pitched back down to where it normally was. But once again, by doing that and messing with the formants a little bit, it gives the instrument a completely different texture, in my opinion. Now it's time to move on to the 808s. This is something that Joji does an incredible job with, and so I can only hope to be half as good at this as what he typically creates. And so what I've done is just taken an 808 and thrown quite a bit of distortion on it and hope that it turns out okay. It's the weirdest thing. When I start creating, I'll get these crazy melodies in my head, and I can't move on until I at least put the idea down, because I have the biggest fear that I'm going to come up with something good and forget it. And so I literally will stop what I'm doing to make sure I get good ideas down on paper, because there's no chance I'm going to forget them. So now from this clip, you can see our beat and remake is really starting to take shape. Once again, I don't know if it sounds like a Joji beat, but that's what I was going for. But I do think it turned out pretty cool in the end. The last thing we really need to focus on is just arranging and creating a actual verse, pre-chorus, chorus structure that Joji typically follows. You know, it's just the typical pop format. And so that's kind of the last thing I did. One thing I did do, though, to truly make it a Joji song, he had to have some of those lo-fi sounds in the background, like raindrops or something like that. So what I did was actually take a clip that I recorded with my iPhone once again from one of the hallways at school, as well as a candle burning. And I went ahead and turned it way down, dripped it out, and put it in the background. So anyway, here's the beat. I'm going to go ahead and play it now. I did go ahead and throw some of my vocals over it. I hope you enjoy, and hopefully it sounds at least somewhat like a Joji beat. Thanks.